Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It is October 5th and we're going to do a garden update. Since we're up here at the front of the garden, top of the garden, we're going to go ahead and take a look. We got radishes that were planted. They're growing kind of slow, but they are growing. Our turmeric is just now popping up. Now I didn't know if any of it would germinate because I ordered it and then I left it set for, I don't know, 3-4 weeks or something in the shop and drying out and stuff. Our ginger is doing all right. It's had a rough time with the heat, and we're going to have to redo some of our herbs or true Greek oregano. It's all died. We didn't have a good luck with thyme. I've got some started already. Now we have a few over here. Our sage is hanging in there, and then we've got some summer savory, and there's down here on the end is lavender, and we happen to have a couple of turmeric that survived in the a tub. It just come back this past month, and so we've got to start there. And we've got our onion bulbs. This was those bulbs that we saved. They're looking good. And we've got some little tomato or potatoes that we missed. They're sprouting in there amongst them. We just figured we'd let them go. Now our rhubarb, I don't think it's survived at all. I've ordered some more seeds so I can start a new batch through the winter in the greenhouse and have it ready in the spring. Our peppers here, the serranos and the jalapenos, they're starting to do better now that the weather's cooling. We're starting to get a few peppers starting to get a little bit of size. Now that is definitely not very big, but that's way bigger than they were because as you can see, the little red ones down there on the ground, they was just really small. Over here we've got a couple of new varieties of cabbage that we're growing. This Chinese cabbage, this one is I think it's Savoy Perfection. It's a different style. And then up here in this other bed in the Victory Garden, we have gypsy broccoli. Now we lost some of these because it got really hot one day and they didn't get enough water, and because I didn't wait for a day for the to be overcast and give them a chance to settle in. I just planted them and it was full sun. We have been getting a cucumber or two out of these ones up here. These tomatoes are blooming like crazy, and just come in here. Of course, it's kind of wet, so it might not work as well, but just tap them because we haven't seen a whole lot of bees. We have seen a few. These cucumbers are producing just a few. This is our latest green beans. This was a real late crop. I said it might make, might not. It's hanging in there and it's taking off. Hopefully it won't be too long. They'll start producing. These are Blue Lake. So we'll see how that goes. Over here we have our other green beans. These are the ones that we planted in the Victory Garden earlier. She's out here picking. We like to pick them tender and small, but you can see they're just loaded up with blooms and green beans. So that's one later crop that's really doing good. And it doesn't take a whole lot of plants. These, we did lose a bunch in this row, but we have enough hanging in there that we get a good little batch of green beans to make us a meal, so we don't cut into our ones that we have preserved, which And we have a few bunching onions here. We've been pulling out bunches at a time. The bigger ones we carry to the market. These smaller ones, I like to either put them in a salad, or if we do a green drink, where I get a lot of greens and peppers and different things, I'll throw them in there. The asparagus is doing great. Now they say only harvest for a few months, but I do sneak in here, and there's occasional little one when I fix my drink that I'll pick a few of those, half a dozen, and blend them up in there with it. They're really good for cleaning up your body. So now our rosemary, we lost one plant, pulled it out. This one here doing the same thing. I'm thinking it's possibly because too much moisture. What we're going to do is find a different location. We have 3 new plants to go in, and I'll probably plant some seeds, grow some from seeds, and get those started. But we'll probably go back to putting our thyme in here, because the thyme did real well in this bed. So, and that's the other end of the tomatoes, and you can see we're getting plenty of tomatoes off in there. And I'm just letting them run all over. But these are our late ones, not our late ones. But and down here in the little greenhouse, we planted this was another unconventional potato planting, where I plant them in pots first, get them started inside, and then brought them out here. We buried them a little bit deep, left the compost up. So once they got established like this, we'll pull the compost in around them. Now some are still too small for that, but these ones that are up good now, we can kind of fertilize them and lay them by, and we'll see if we can get some. They'll be semi-protected, so maybe they'll do good. We'll just have to see. Now we'll go over here to this other side of the garden. Over here, our habaneros are starting to produce like crazy again. Now this cooled down a little bit. Last week we didn't have any for the market, but this week looks like we're going to have a few. And we'll go on down here to this row. And we only have one shallot out of the ones that we put back that actually come back to life now. And here's some more of our little onions that were from our early bulbs. They're doing okay. Now I've been picking these cantaloupes. In fact, I had to reshoot this video because my mic wasn't working. And we pick them when the vines, and you see how I rolled that and the vine just come loose. That's telling you that cantaloupe is ready. Now this one's starting to split right here on the top, so and its vine is almost loose, so we're going to take it. Even though it's green, we'll sit it on the counter for a little bit and get it ripened up. It looks like there might be another one off in there. We'll get it. Let me carry this up. Our squash, we had a whole row. The aphids got real bad. We did come in here and take care of them. I finally mixed up some neem oil. They weren't responding good. Normally I take my Castile soap and it'll take care of them, but these black aphids were a little bit harder to deal with. Now these Israel cantaloupes, and it's been a long time since I've grown any, and I don't remember if these were like the other cantaloupes where they just released or not. So I've just been waiting to see. They are a bigger cantaloupe, but we'll see. We might take one loose just to see what's going on. Now over here with our honeydews. Now these aren't a real big honeydew melon variety, but the way I've been picking these is when they start to yellow and the vines don't pull loose, it's more like a watermelon. Now it should go ahead and break pretty close to it. Now you can't thump them, but what it was, I was letting them keep going, hoping the vine would release. And what ended up happening is the sun gets to them. It starts a spot kind of like this one, and then this part will start getting soft. So we go ahead and pick them, and we cut the best part out. And of course, the chickens like the rest. But so I found out that they don't harvest the same way as the others. Now these are banana peppers. This plant here, we've just been kind of letting it go. They've been really small. Some of these others, of course, there is one that's starting to get bigger. These others we've been harvesting for the market and eating a few. They're still producing. The plants look rough. It's got a lot of white flies in there. Now our bell peppers, we could be harvesting more. A lot of them don't get very big. Sun gets them or something, and we pick them off. They're still kind of small, but we've been getting bigger ones, so we haven't been picking them as small. And you can see white flies just running around here. I think you might could possibly see them. But yeah, we just harvest on a Friday before the market on Saturday. Now our citrus row here, and it won't be long. These will have to be moved into the greenhouse, but they're doing good. I potted up a lot of these to a bigger pot. I think that's 7 gallons. And these ones that were air layered, of course, they have their lemons on there, and they're doing pretty good as far as that goes. This is the original one. Now these are turning yellow from the sun, and but they're doing good. They're doing good. Now the orange tree, this is starting to get some size on it. There's a few branches that I think I'm going to go ahead and put some air layers on to take them off. Our blood oranges that are from seed. Now the blood oranges are real red, but I'd say you could call them blood oranges because with the spikes on here, they will draw blood. And this here is our single seed challenge from last year. This was planted January last year, and it's really taking off and doing good. It's a grapefruit tree. We have a few more that we've potted up of different seed grown ones. This here is another grapefruit, and we have quite a few that need to be potted up. These would do much better once they're in a bigger pot. I just haven't got to that yet, as always. But our okra, now our okra might look spindly and like all the leaves are gone because yesterday we took off a whole bunch of leaves. We want to be able to see our okra. It is producing good. There's a lot she done harvested this morning. She normally takes and cuts her okra every day. Then she picks them kind of small, so she'll let them get just a little bigger than this, and then she cuts them. That's what they like at the market, and we like them however, so that's just fine with us. But all the varieties are doing good. There's 4 different varieties in here, and they're all doing real well. If you grow okra just for the blooms, it would be enjoyable. Usually when I see splint blooms like that, I just pop them off. that less likely to have any kind of fungal problem or something like that. Now, these are, if a poinsettia variety of cucumbers, they're starting to produce. We've harvested a few. And as you can see, now normally I let them get a little bit bigger than that and take and have them now. I am a cucumber guy, so I love having cucumbers around all the time. Now our peppers, we're still getting quite a few of our hatch green chilies. They're starting to get a little bit bigger again. The plants don't look that good. Now they did have white flies on them. I sprayed some neem oil quite a while back, and they seem to be doing better, but they're still kind of yellowing and such as that. Now all these other peppers, these are poblano peppers. I've got a batch that we just dehydrated and it's in the freeze dryer, and then we have our cayennes. These cayennes are small because these are the long cayennes, so they haven't started getting the size, but the weather's cooling down, so they should. We've got a few rutabagas. She's been coming in here and picking them as they get bigger. The sugar rush pepper, I don't know if you've ever grown it. It's a good flavor. It's kind of a little warm, but it's not all that bad. It's got a different way that the heat responds. Now we're down here in our apples. Now remember, we had summer pruned these, and you can see this growth coming off here. Now they will get a winter pruning too to cut out some of these interior limbs, but as you can see, they're really coming back strong. They should have a good crop of apples next year, and we'll follow up on that. Now these are ghost peppers back here. These plants are almost tall as me. They're loaded up with blooms, and they're starting to set peppers again with the heat. They don't set them, but you see they have a lot of blooms. So it won't be long we'll have some more of them. Now, some of our blueberries aren't doing real strong. It's a lot more water down in this area, which could be affecting it. We have lost one down here. I have a couple of replacement plants, and our pineapples are really doing good. I am waiting for them to shoot a pineapple out the top. That's kind of what I'm looking for, but it shouldn't be too long. Our watermelons have went crazy. I have keep turning back these vines. I haven't seen a watermelon one in here. I'm sure there might be one, but without the bunch of bees like we normally have, it's not looking good. And I have to keep them out of this. Was the same thing here. That one day of not watering, and this was solid beets in here, but the one day of not watering, when it was really sunny, kind of took them out. The same thing with the mustard and the turnips. We have a few here, so we just leave the row go, and the same on this. Now the cilantro, it hung in there pretty good. Of course, it had better established roots, and so that one they didn't affect it. But the small germinating plants, it did affect. Now down here we have some red cabbage, and then we have some early Jersey cabbage in here. Now we have lost a plant here and there. These are planted in here kind of tight, so they're going to be really cramped for space. Now our notapinos, they're starting to come back and get some size. always got to come out here and just eat one of these when I'm in the garden. If you haven't grown them, they got another name is fuyu, and they have that jalapeno flavor, but they don't have any of the heat. They're really good in salads such as that. Give you a little different taste. Now the eggplant, the Black Beauty are starting to get some size. They're doing pretty good. The collards up here, we had a little bug problem. We come in here with some neem oil, took care of it. We need to come in here and harvest some of these collards. Now on these eggplants, now they're starting to get a little bit better for harvesting. Of course, I kept saying I was going to stand these up, but they're too stiff to stand up now because they really diminish my area in that bed. But the Black Beauties, they're starting to really get to the size that they should be, which is good. But they're taking over. We have about a 6-foot walkway here between this bed, and you can see you don't hardly have any room. And we ended up with a nice batch. That'll make good lunch. Ain't nothing like fresh green beans just picked. Now we'll go in the greenhouse here, see what's happening. The bananas are definitely getting bigger. I had taken the pups off of this one, except the one, and now we've got another one growing back. This was the pup I think that I broke. So I'm going to try to harvest that out and give it away. But the leaves, the last leaf that come out on this one was getting hung into the top, so I had to kind of release it. They're definitely getting some size. I'm thinking they'll overgrow the greenhouse, but we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we can keep them warm enough this winter so we'll have bananas next year. Now our onions, we had gave these a haircut a while back. We did with some fish emulsion, and these are the leek. They grow a little slower, and they're time to have that done again. I'll give them some fish emulsion and then water them, and then cut them. Now this is lemongrass. I decided to grow some lemongrass. Heard some good things about it. Here's our 2 replacement blackberries. But all these onions need a haircut. Now we've been trying to get some roses to take and root out. And take a little break from the tour. She's been over there at the tomatoes. We've been finding a few hornworms, and boy, the chickens like them, especially big ones. But we hadn't had any success. It looks like maybe 1 or 2 might, but I don't know that they will. We'll just keep watering them and hope for the best. And we have some more transplants to go out. These here are the other gypsy broccoli. We have some more red cabbage. These are different herbs. Some of them's come up, some of them's not, but hopefully we'll get a few from there. We have, this is celery right here. This here is cauliflower. Now the radicchio, we planted some of that in the greenhouse. This here is lacinato kale, black magic. We have more cucumbers in here. These are going to be our late ones. We put these in baskets instead of strings so we can take and cover them, be able to cover them. So maybe we can keep them going. We have cilantro in here now. I've had to weed out basil. I've got basil coming up all over. I've harvested out a lot of this, and I've got it in the freeze dryer right now. Now these are my late tomatoes, and these are actually from seed from Hosenators. So ain't no telling what they're going to come out like, but I figured I'd give them a try and see how they do in here in the winter. But I think they're more of a determinate tomato, so that's going to be good. Now our deal is getting close to where we can start harvesting it. As you can still see, I got a lot of basil to get out of here. I want to see how much I had before I just harvested all this small, in case I wanted some more to get bigger. But I'm looking like we'll probably have plenty. Now, this is our watermelons inside. Now, I don't know that there might have been a few in this row, and most of them was in this row, but they've just been taken over. I've had to really fight them. I don't know how many watermelons are in there. I know there's one, and maybe I can find it. This is some more cilantro. I've been growing quite a bit. I need to start another batch because the cilantro is, I need to preserve a lot more because I'm kind of getting low. Down here we have Hilton cabbage, and then we have Mitchahili, and then down at the end, and we'll walk that way, we have some more bok choy. Now this is I think Hilton cabbage right here, and we had to treat this. You can see it was starting to get eat up, and it was a little worm, but we used some spinosad and some neem oil, so hopefully that took care of it good. Now off in here somewhere, and every time I see mushrooms, I have to pull them out. They seem to be taken over. And it probably would have been better if I put a flag so I could keep a watch on it. But there is a black diamond watermelon off in here somewhere. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see when it gets bigger, but it was bigger than a softball. So pretty soon it ought to be easy to spot. And as we come on up, we have potted up our avocado trees into bigger pots, and we've actually clipped the top of part of them. We want them to go ahead and expand out their limbs lower. We don't want them to get very big because we're going to keep them in big pots. Our lettuce, it's not a whole lot, and it's probably getting close to the end of its time over there, but it's been enough to keep us in a salad, a couple times a week. This over here is our muscovy mix. Now I've been doing this a little bit different. I've been taking out most of the red mustard because it seems like that's the one that draws the bugs in. Right here we have a little batch of large Italian leaf parsley, and of course our bok choy that's up here close to our carrot seeds. I've been coming out here and taking off carrot seeds occasionally. What I'll do is I come in here and I look for seeds that look mature, and I'll clip those out. Normally I wait till they kind of get a little curve to the bouquet where it curves up, but sometimes not, just if they have big seeds. But anyway, I'm getting a steady batch of seeds from there. But anyway, and once we deadheaded our Ignacia, and we kept all the seeds, so we'll plant a big bunch of it next year. They started blooming again, and so maybe they'll go for a little bit. It's always nice to have nice blooms in the garden. But anyway, that's about where we stand right now. Everything is doing pretty good. We've got plenty more to plant. We're growing our seeds. We're trying to keep the weeds out and keep everything tended real good. Now, our lower garden where we planted potatoes, we have noticed that a few of the plants have come out. It's not worth taking you down there. We have a lot more nut grass than potato plants, and thinking about maybe using the flamethrower on those to get rid of a bunch of the seeds and maybe kill off some of that grass, but it's a mess. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this. I'm glad that you came along with us on the tour. And of course, if you're new to my channel, just hit that subscribe, hit the bell, and select all, and share this video. Give her a big thumbs up. Enjoy that gardening experience.